Friends want to talk to Guatemalans, we want to talk to Nicaraguans, people of color in Europe. It's not so much where they came from, but what country they're in. There's just too much of internal division.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just
crazy.
It's just a web of nonsense. That's what it is. When, frankly, we just need to start, I don't know, whatever it takes, advertising. I don't know how to get through to people anymore. But we're a human race. I remember when the movie Independence Day came out. Remember that?
Yes.
And I remember thinking, I wonder if they'll get it. All right? Do we really need aliens to come here so that we can unite? And at this point... Right. At this
and
point...
I think they're getting us ready for that.
But at this point, I'm not even sure that the world will unite, especially after Trump.
Right.
Everybody's so divided. We probably have, they're probably going to be some slave trading going on. They're probably going to sell us. Remember the episode in The Twilight Zone? The one, it was called To Serve Man.
Vaguely.
Okay. You're probably like, wow, how does she remember that?
Yeah,
I will never forget that episode. I love the Twilight Zone, but this episode was mind blowing. So they have these aliens come down. They can't speak, and even if they do speak, they probably don't speak our language, right? So, of course, that Margot would be like, speak English. So they come and they have all these technological advances. They solve famine. They solve every disease in the world. Everything is just perfect, okay? And everybody's living well. They bring all sorts of technology, all sorts of comforts and new technology and everything. But some people in the government are still suspicious, so they get this book from them and they're trying to decipher the language. So years later, by this time, they've already built like space stations and there's food, there's abundance of food. No one in the world is starving. No one. Okay? And so they build these space stations and they're offering for humans to come and visit their planet. Okay? So people are going on these spaceships to visit like it's going to Walt Disney, right? So one day this lady who was assistant to this gentleman in the government, she kept on working on the book and she finally broke the code. And she runs to where her boss is going to get on the ship because it was his turn. Everybody wanted to go, so there was a waiting list. It was his turn to go. And she runs to the docking place and she's telling him, she's calling him, she's like, wait a minute, no. She's like, well, he's like, what? I can't hear you. And he turns around and they're trying to shove him into the door. And she goes, the book, it's a cookbook. So they came down here, they fattened everybody up, just so that they can have food. They can have food on their planet.
I thought it was the other one where they were going to be they were a zoo exhibit.
No, it's worse. They were cattle.
Zoo exhibit, right?
Right, they've turned us to cattle.
Right.
Mhm.
I love it.
I mean, what is it going to take? Does it take something like that for people to unite?
I don't know.
And at that point, it's too late. I mean, so many people went. Didn't they notice that no one was coming back?
Well, they had got extended stays.
But you have to wonder. Look how long the three of us have been at this.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are in 2021.
Still advocating.
Still discussing it.
Still.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember thinking throughout my life, my God, it's 1969. When are we going to get with it? And they go like, it's 1969. Come on, people, let's get with it. And, well, here we are. Yep.
I love the way Tony switches to the 60s phrases. Let's get with it. Now
He is a modern man.
Right. Now you got to get woke in 2021.
No, I refuse. You won't. You won't. No.
Stubborn as hell.
I did have one kind of sobering thought.
What?
We're talking about Alan Turing, gay rights, Pride Month, whatever, and to bring it back to the U.S., who would you say is the father of the March on Washington where Martin Luther King gave his famous speech?
I don't think I know that.
It's Bayard Rustin. And Bayard Rustin was the man who basically came up with the entire march for Martin Luther King Jr.
That's right.
Wow.
But Bayard was also an openly gay man.
Yep.
And within the civil rights movement, he was pushed aside because he was gay.
Really?
Yes. So imagine how much more he could have accomplished if they had kept him and included him going forward.
Wow, that's something. And you know what? It's not right. But what did they give a reason why? Is there any documented reason why?
Well, it was the 60s. He was a black man. He was openly gay.
Right, yeah. Right. So the reason I'm asking that is because, you know, when you have something, a movement, a company or something, and that you're trying to get to the next level, it's just like the gentleman with the cerebral palsy that lied, right? About why he walked that way and talked that way. He said it was an accident. It could very well be that they felt that they needed to clean up, and I say clean up because they're reacting to how the movement is going to be received. It's just like with Biden. Remember when he was running for president, and I was like, they're just going to find anything to derail and misdirect people about Biden. So if he stayed with the movement, don't you think that they would have used him to try to derail or squash the movement?
Oh, I'm sure they would have.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right.
No, but they would have.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just like early gay and lesbian 1950s, 1960s activists.
Right.
They wore dresses and high heels and suits when they protested to look as mainstream as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a whole different world.
Yeah, because, you know, the thing is, it's like, if you're being demonized, right, the last thing you want to do, can you imagine if when they started to do the gay rights movement, if they all went out like RuPaul?
Yeah.
But that's the joke, Will. Stonewall, which we can agree to disagree if that's the groundbreaking moment in the gay rights story. But the people fighting back were lesbians, drag queens, the trans community, people of color. It wasn't Bob, the white blonde kid from Iowa. You know, it was the marginalized people who said they have had enough.
Enough. Well, it's the marginalized people that are getting it, so they're the ones who are going to be the ones that have enough. The average white person isn't getting it. So what are they going to be fed up with? White privilege?
Well, we were able to hide in plain sight.
Right.
In many ways.
Well, if you were white and you were gay, you were able to infiltrate. I call it infiltrating. But you lived a difficult life because you're always looking over your shoulder, right? Because you don't know who's watching you. You don't know. And then when you're outside of work, let's say, you can't even really completely be yourself, because you don't know if somebody's going to see something, and then word's going to get around. If you're black and you're gay, you still have to deal with the situation of being black in America, right? Right.
And then add being a woman, that's 3 strikes.
Exactly. So everybody had, it's so sad when you really think back how people had to live in disguise in order to live in a country that's supposed to be free and full of opportunity. And that's why I've always said America is an illusion. And it's always been an illusion. The other countries that are trying to emulate America are actually doing it better than America. Because America never intended to make good on the land of the free, home of the brave. Give me your poorest, your broken, your everybody come this opportunity. Come to the well. That was never the intent. It was only meant for a select few.
I think that select few was white male landowners.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And ironically enough, a lot of the people that were sent here from Europe, from England, right? They were trying to get rid of the worst. When Trump says, they don't send us their best, they're sending us their criminals, their rapists, right?
Right.
That's what they were sending over here to the Americas.
Right. That's right.
Because they had so many people that they were actually putting people using ships as jails in England.
And it wasn't just England. Louis XIV, who built Versailles, he took a lot of his riffraff and sent them to Louisiana.
Yep, exactly. That's what I'm saying. America was like how they were getting rid of the riffraff from over there in Europe.
Right.
So, does that mean that our founding fathers were riffraff?
Pretty much.
Well, he did chop down a cherry tree, so that's 1 strike against him.
Yeah, but they said he didn't lie about it, so I wonder if that's true.
Oh, I doubt it.
With all that white line. I wonder if that story is true at all. Is the story? Does anybody know if that story is even true, or if it's just an anecdote that they put in there to show how honest he was?
So to wrap up our discussion here, folks, if you have positive comments, please send them to us. Negative comments, the address is Mar-a-Lago.
Got that right. Yeah, don't forget, when you listen, comment, like. If you listen to us on YouTube, do the same thing. If you have any show ideas that you want us to talk about, go ahead and put them in the comments.
I look forward to our next podcast, and I look forward to our next RaceAware Lounge, where we bring our listeners in and have an intimate conversation, get to know each other, hear what's on your mind, what you want us to talk about. Stay active, stay involved, and stay safe.
RaceAware. We love bringing you the RaceAware podcast content. If you like what you hear, find our podcast valuable, and want to help us keep creating our content, show your support by spreading the word and partnering with us on Patreon for as little as $2.99 a month by going to patreon.com/RaceAware. Partners of the show get access to exclusive benefits such as private access to the RaceAware community, the digital downloads, voter power, free access to the live RaceAware Lounge, supporter shoutouts, best of all, free RaceAware merchandise, and so much more. Check us out at patreon.com/RaceAware.